There is a moment in Book of Genesis that almost everyone reads, but few truly notice. Cain has just killed his brother. God confronts him. Judgment falls. And then Cain says something strange. Whoever finds me will kill me. Who is he afraid of? Adam and Eve were the first humans. Abel is dead. Cain is still alive. So who exactly is whoever? This is not a minor detail. This is one of the most unsettling questions in Scripture. Tonight, we investigate the mystery, not through speculation, not through myth, but through careful biblical, historical, and theological analysis. The narrative begins in Book of Genesis, chapter 4. Adam and Eve leave Eden. The ground is cursed. Life is harder. 2 sons are born, Cain, a worker of the ground, and Abel, a keeper of sheep. Both bring offerings. Abel's is accepted. Cain's is not. The text never says God rejected Cain arbitrarily. The issue appears tied to the condition of the heart, the quality of the offering, and the principle later explained in Book of Hebrews. By faith Abel offered, Cain becomes angry. God warns him. Sin is crouching at the door. This is the first time sin is described as an active predatory force. Cain ignores the warning. He kills Abel. The first human born becomes the first murderer. God confronts Cain. Cain lies. God declares, the ground will no longer yield to him, and he will be a wanderer. And Cain replies, my punishment is more than I can bear. Whoever finds me will kill me. This statement implies, 1. There are other people. 2. Those people may seek vengeance. 3. Cain believes retaliation is inevitable. So we must ask, who exists at this point? The most straightforward explanation. Adam and Eve had many children. Genesis 5-4 says Adam had sons and daughters. If Cain and Abel were not the only children, then there could already be dozens alive. Cain feared siblings or nephews, and time may have passed between Genesis 4-1 and 4-8. Ancient Jewish tradition suggests long lifespans allowed exponential population growth. If Adam lived 930 years and early humanity reproduced rapidly, there could be hundreds within a century. This explanation is consistent with biblical genealogy, ancient Near Eastern patterns, and later clan-based vengeance systems. But is that the whole story? Genesis says Cain built a city and named it after his son Enoch. Cities require population, organization, and a labor force. If Cain and his immediate siblings were the only people, how did a city exist so quickly? The Hebrew word for city, ar, does not necessarily mean a massive metropolis. It can mean a fortified settlement. Still, the implication remains. There were enough people for structured society. In the Book of Enoch, a later Jewish text, another layer appears. It speaks of watchers, heavenly beings who descended. Though this text is not part of the canonical Hebrew Bible, it influenced Second Temple Judaism. Some speculate Cain's Fear involves supernatural beings, or hybrid descendants later called Nephilim. However, Genesis 4 never mentions angels in connection with Cain's Fear. The Nephilim appear later in Genesis 6. So while fascinating, this theory stretches the textual evidence. Some propose that before Adam, other humans existed. This theory suggests Genesis 1 describes humanity broadly. Genesis 2 zooms in on Adam specifically, and Cain feared non-Adamic humans. But this interpretation conflicts with Book of Romans, which states sin entered through one man, and the theological framework of federal headship. If death entered through Adam, pre-Adamic humans undermine Paul's argument. Thus, most Orthodox traditions reject this theory. God places a mark on Cain for divine protection. The mark is not described physically. It functions as a protective sign. Whoever kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken sevenfold. This introduces the first legal principle, divine restraint on blood vengeance. Later codified in Book of Exodus and Book of Leviticus. The mark indicates there were others. Violence could escalate, and civilization required limits. Rabbinic literature suggests Cain feared wild beasts or other descendants, or even demonic forces. The Talmud debates the nature of the mark. Some said it was a letter. Some said a horn. Some said divine light. None suggest pre-Adamic races explicitly. Cain's Fear shows 1. Murder produces insecurity. 2. Guilt produces paranoia. 3. Violence multiplies. The text may intentionally leave the population vague to emphasize sign spreads faster than genealogy. Cain builds a city not from faith, but from fear. In Mesopotamian myth, fratricide appears in early epics, and cities rise after violence. For example, in the Epic of Gilgamesh, cities symbolize both greatness and corruption. Genesis may be responding polemically. True civilization without righteousness leads to Lamech's violence. Cain feared being killed. His descendant Lamech boasts of killing. Violence escalates from fear gives retaliation, gives arrogance. By Genesis 6, the earth is filled with violence, leading to the flood and the judgment of Noah. Some theologians argue, whoever finds me may be archetypal language. Cain represents the exile of humanity. Anyone who rejects God becomes vulnerable to chaos. The fear may not be about a specific individual, but about living outside Eden's protection. Textually, historically, and theologically, the strongest explanation remains. Adam and Eve had many children. Human population expanded quickly. Cain feared clan vengeance. No hidden races. No secret civilizations. No missing chapters. Attention is narrative compression, not mystery species. The real question isn't, who was Cain afraid of? The real question is, why does guilt always expect judgment? Cain projected violence because he committed violence. His fear was the mirror of his crime. Cain walks east of Eden, east, the direction of exile. From garden to field to wandering, to city to violence to flood. His fear begins the trajectory of fallen civilization. And yet, God marks him not for destruction, but for mercy. Even the first murderer receives protection. Cain feared others. But the text reveals something deeper. The one he truly feared was God, and yet the God he feared was the one who spared him.